Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl KDOT back in Ripple Effect. You know what it is, and you already know the vibe. Shout out to all the supporters, subscribers. I appreciate y'all. Check out the store on Etsy. Remember, that's the Ripple Effect WKDOT, all caps, no space. Let's go. We rolling NFL season. But the NBA, we got to talk about the NBA. We got to talk about what happened with Draymond and Donovan Mitchell last night. We got to talk about Scoop Henderson and what's going on with him. And he's a rookie. He's still getting acclimated. We got to talk about Wemby. There's a lot we got to get into because, you know, the NBA, they got the in-season tournament. I know a lot of people were confused about how that was going to work. And I'm telling you right now, it's working. Like, because there's just more interest. There's more people talking about it. I don't remember. And this is for the casual fan. I'm not talking for the people who normally religiously watch the NBA, because some people are going to have their opinions. They don't like it. That's because you probably watch the games anyway. The NBA wasn't really directing it towards you. It was more of the casual fan. I'm not going to start watching until Christmas. That's what that was kind of about. And those people, from my vantage point, are really into it. They're getting into it. And even the players, you know, I mean, $500K, you know, if you win in Vegas, that's not a bad offer. I know a lot of the big stars probably are like, but you know what? The guys on the end of that bench, $500K, sounds about right, you know? So we'll see what's up. We'll see what happens with that. But to get into this Draymond and Donovan Mitchell situation, if you know me, I'm a Donovan Mitchell person. Like, he's actually one of my favorite players in the NBA currently, #1. So if you see, there's no bias though, but I'm just gonna put it out there for you just to let you know. You know, I'm not trying to. I do believe in cause and effect. If you've been watching me for a while, I understand. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? Now, with that aside, I can appreciate how some people don't like it, or kind of take offense to it, because it's like, yo, if you didn't call that before, you can't go back in time and sit there and give people texts or take away things, or, you know, or give it a. I can appreciate that, but I think what the NBA is going off of is reputation, and we can talk about that, because if it was another player, would they have necessarily done that, and would there have just been a flagrant foul on Donovan Mitchell in that situation? Probably, but let's dissect it. And for those of you who didn't watch the game, I'm sorry for you, because that was a really, really good game between the Cavs and the Golden State Warriors, mainly because people are sleeping on the Cavs, and I get it. There's a lot of people also sleeping on the Orlando Magic and Pablo Banchero and what these boys are doing. But I get it. When you have the 76ers and their drama, there always seems to be some drama going on with the 76ers, whether it's Ben or whether it's Harden. But you know what? This is probably the first time that they've really kind of eradicated all that, and they're playing ball. And you know what? They're doing really well, and we're watching a superstar and Maxey grow. Like, that's what he's turning into, y'all. Like, keep watching. I'm not going to annoy him that quickly, but keep watching. This is where he's ascending to. But to get back to the Cavs and the Warriors, I get it. Now, if it were me, I'm not a ref. I'm not a, you know, I'm not Tony Brothers trying to be a judge and all that. And that's another thing I kind of want to get into. But if it were me, I would have said, okay, you know what, Draymond, you know what you did. I'm not playing this back and forth with you, because we already know how he could, you know, he's a bully. That's what bullies do. You know, they want to punk you, and I can understand why Donovan Mitchell want to nip that in the bud. Like, hey, like, yo, you're not doing that over here. Like, that's not going to fly. Like, I know you get away with that with other people, but here, it's not going to happen. And you're the one with the tech already. So if you keep engaging with me, you're the one that's going to get thrown out. So me knowing how valuable you are, I'm going to keep messing with you since you already messed with me, right? But boom, this is what I'm going to say. I would have given them both techs. Of course, that would have meant Draymond still leaving, ultimately, because he already had a tech. I'm sorry, if you already have a technical foul, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. And this is, if anybody's trying to compare this to the Giannis situation, this whole conversation has just gone over your head. This has nothing to do with Giannis conversation. We are not about to compare that, because that is oranges to bridges. We ain't comparing that. We ain't doing that. But what we are going to do is sit there and say, Donovan Mitchell did deserve, that wasn't a common foul. That wasn't a basketball play. I mean, come on. And then, even if you thought it was or maybe he was trying to get to the ball and he was too overzealous, right? And he was, right after that, what did Donovan do? Once the whistle blew, he pointed down there, like pretty much saying like, oh, this was for back there when you shoved me and sent me into the first row. Like that's what this was for, back down there. So you gotta keep it even. You gotta sit there and say, okay, and this is coming from a Donovan Mitchell fan. You gotta make it make sense though. Like, if what Draymond did resulted into a tech, right? A flagrant one, whatever. So does Donovan Mitchell. You just got to keep it even. I don't get why you couldn't just give him a tag instead of just making that a common foul, because then you're bringing more attention to yourself, i.e. the refs. You're bringing attention to yourselves, and you're not even making it about the game anymore. And you already know what that does, because Draymond's an energy guy. He is the heart and soul of that team, even though he doesn't score a million points. And I know a lot of people don't understand how that thing works, but if you've ever been a part of a team, or if you've been following the NBA, or any team, any collective, it doesn't even have to be professional. If you've been following, you understand that there are certain guys have certain roles, and just because they don't score as much as Steph Curry or shoot like him does not make them any less valuable to a team, okay? Draymond Green is very valuable. You ask anybody on that team, they will tell you how valuable he is. But I digress on that. But so the point is, Donovan Mitchell knew that. But like always, it don't matter if it's the playoffs, game on the line, regular season. One thing you can count on is Draymond being Draymond. Now, you would think he would get to a point where he would not only realize his value, don't get me wrong, he realizes his value come contract time, even when it comes to the X's and O's of the game. But emotional, like physically, your presence, bro, how do you allow yourself to get so engaged where you just tossing my man in the front, and not even I can understand, like I can't say that I understand it, but you're you. This is what got you there. I can't even knock it. It worked for you. But if you already got the one tech, bro, that's where you lost me. You already have a tech. Why are you tossing dudes into the front row, especially a super? Come on, man. Like, you know, if you do that to a guy like Donovan Mitchell, they're gonna say something. Like, that's just. And if you know anything about Donovan Mitchell or his game, you should have known that was gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it was gonna piss him off. You should have known that, and you should have known he was gonna retaliate. Like, but you know, I'll digress on that issue. But I just thought that was interesting. And if you want to make any associations between the Giannis situation and this situation, it's the refs. That's the common denominator. Like, bro, what are y'all doing? You guys got to keep it even. Make it make sense. The math just ain't mathing on this one. You can't sit there and call one thing one way, and then something very, very similar happens, even within the same game, involving the same people, and you call it differently. You cannot do. You gotta, because you're messing with the integrity of the game at this point. And if you watch my last episode, like, that was one of the things that I kind of harped on. It's crazy to me, because not only you losing people, you're making people, especially when it comes to betting, I don't know, it just gets real messy. That's the point. It gets real messy, and I think Adam Silver really needs to come down on these guys in terms of, listen, I don't know how you guys are doing this, but what you guys are seeing out there or hearing or whatever, it's got to stop. Or you got to have other guys, you know what I mean, from New York, which they do, you know, overseeing this. And if they need to reverse a call, or they need to kind of, because when they be taking those like 5 to 10 minute breaks, even though everybody at home is literally yelling the right answer to you, but they can't see the professionals, you know, making over, you know, 100K plus, can't seem to figure that out within a decent amount of time without stopping the game and making everything, you know, so crazy. And essentially icing, you know what I mean, guys at the free throw line. My man, I mean, I'm not trying to say he's a great free throw shooter or not. My man missed like 4 free throws. Like, you know, I mean 4 free throws, bro. This was like back to back. Point is, refs, get your act together and get it together quick, because a lot of people complaining, and I like to talk basketball, and I hate the fact that I have to use up so much time to talk about the refs because you guys are inserting yourselves in the game so much that I have to sit here and talk about it. Like, that's, come on. Like, nobody wants to sit here and talk about y'all. Like everybody keeps saying, nobody is spending their time or money to watch y'all. Let's just keep it real. Like, nobody's here for y'all. That's it. Don't get in the way of the game. And and your job is supposed to be to keep the integrity of the game, right? Because you're the ones that's supposed to be not involved. You're not supposed to be emotionally involved like the other teams are. That's kind of the point, but I'll leave that alone. But when it comes to the rookies coming up in the league, I know it's crazy to think about the guys like LeBron, you know, Steph, and how they're like 35 plus. Like, Steph is like 35 years old, bro. Did you realize that? I didn't realize that. These guys are getting up there, and it just means that, you know, it's about to be an end of an era. And I don't want to sit there and try to, like, talk about that just yet, because for guys like Steph, that could be way, you know, a little bit down the line, just because of, you know, he's not a power guy, you know what I mean? Like, but the movement, I can see how that might catch up to him, but right now he looks really good. But when you look at Anthony Edwards, I can't wait till Ja Morant comes back. I know the Memphis Grizzlies can't wait till Ja Morant comes back because it's crazy out there. But when you look at, I don't know what's going on in Brooklyn with Cam Johnson, but that's another one. Like, these guys, like, are phenomenal. Like, any given night, they're giving you like 30, 40 easy, you know, and not even consistent because they don't even know when they're going to get their minutes and all that. And it's crazy. And Scoot Henderson, you know, shout outs to you, man. Things look a little rough, but he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. I'm not even going to sit there and worry, because people like to overreact to rookies, because when they have a great season, rookie season, and then they kind of fall off, we'll see. We'll just wait and see what happens. But I love the way, you know, the surprise teams. Like, I love the way the Magic are playing. You know, I love the way the Rockets are playing. I mean, I love the way the Magic are playing. Like, I got to keep talking about the Magic because that's a surprise. When you look at the teams that they're beating and what they're doing, the 76ers, I don't want to say that they're a surprise, because we kind of already expected these things when you look on paper and you see exactly who's on that team, because everybody was kind of drawn to James Harden just because of all the attention. But at the same time, it's like, teams you need to be concerned about: the Clippers, the Lakers, right? I'm mainly concerned about the Lakers because, is Austin Reeves exactly who we thought he was, or it's just the pressure that's getting to him? Or, you know, why is he getting benched for Cam Reddish? And remember, Cam Reddish is a guy that the Knicks kind of just didn't even give any minutes to and didn't push aside. But don't get me wrong, I know it's a different coach, different eras, but the Knicks do have a bad habit in trading guys away. And for some reason, they just, the star in their roles on whatever team that they end up on. I don't know what it is, but it's like them leaving the Knicks always seems to bring out the best in them. I don't know what it is. And so far, obviously, we can look at Brunson and say that that's not necessarily true, but let's just see. Let's just see. I know Randall had that one, you know, all-star, you know, season, but let's see. Let's see how things go. But at the end of the day, we're sitting here looking at the league, and it's kind of wide open. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's wide open. The Clippers, can they still figure it out? Yeah. I'm not going to sit there and say, but we do need to be worried. We need to see how these guys are going to fit in. How are they going to mesh? Is it going to, you know, get really bad before it gets better? Is it going to be one of those situations where they're going to have one of those, you know, come to Jesus moments? I don't know. But it is going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, because, you know, Westbrook, very ball dominant. James Harden, very ball dominant. You know, but we know he can lead, you know, he can definitely lead a team in assists, if not the league. We know what he's capable of, or if he needs to turn it on and he needs to shot. You know, we know what he's capable of. But how are you going to be able to? It's like everybody always say, there's only one ball. How are you going to get PG involved? How are you going to get Kawhi involved? Right. So these are the things that you need to figure out, and I think a lot of people are already trying to say, and which makes a lot of sense. Westbrook needs to come off the bench. Why? He's an energy guy, right? He's a guy that can run that second unit, run the offense. You know, Terrence Mann can get involved, and, you know, maybe he can get him some good looks with a, you know, kind of kick and pop situation. There's a lot of different things you could do with that, but managing egos, and I know a lot of people keep saying, like, Ty Lue, man, I don't feel sorry for a lot of coaches depending on, you know, the situation, but I truly do feel sorry for Ty Lue. Why? Because he seems to put so much into the game. I've watched him in interviews and talk about all the things that he's missed in his life and his family's lives, because it just shows his dedication to the game of basketball and to his job and how grateful he is. And it doesn't seem like he ever, you know, like loses sight of that. He lets you know, like, listen, I'm grateful to be here. I'm glad I've earned this position. Look where I've done so far. But he still puts in the time. He still puts in the work, you know. But with the constant injuries, the guy's not playing, this and that. And I don't want to, you know, go too crazy with it and try to say, you know, people are not playing even though, you know, whether it's injury or not. The point is, if you can't get a cohesive unit, if you can't figure out a unit because guys are in and out of the lineup, or, you know, you're promising guys certain minutes and you're watching their maturation, like Terrence Mann, for instance, and then, you know, you get a couple players, you know, and then you get some guys and then they're coming back, and then you get James Harden, and it's like, man, like that's really difficult. And I know a lot of people sit there and say, well, if you want to win, it's easy to just sit back and take the... You're probably only saying that if you've never been in that role. If you've been in that role where it's, you know, you're the guy, you're the main person everybody looks up to, and, you know, and it's a prestigious status. And maybe with other endorsement deals, that's what they kind of expected you to do, you know, in terms of minutes, in terms of how many points you score, or whatever, depending on whatever deal you have. That's what it all comes with that. So if you got to take a back seat, it don't just mean in the game, bro. It means a lot of different things. It could just mean in the fashion world. It could mean with Gatorade commercials, State Farm commercials. It could mean a number of different things. And I know as the average fan, you don't care about none of that. You just care about winning, right? I get it, but they do. They care about that stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about the game. It's about generational wealth. It could be about their family as well, you know, and it could, or it just could be what they're transitioning to, like, in the future, because they can't play basketball forever. So you don't know if they're going to be on the director of this and start looking at that. I mean, look at Iguodala. He stayed in the game so long, created all these great relationships, and look where he's at. Look at how he's elevated his position in the NBA. That wasn't by accident. That was through hard work. That was through sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, he made those sacrifices work for him. Because if you look at Iguodala, and if you're young, you may not know Iguodala when he first came in, or with the 76ers, you may not know that Iguodala. And if you don't, please watch YouTube. After you finish watching me, of course. Watch YouTube and look at his film. And you're going to be like, what? This was Iggy? Yeah, that was Iguodala. You know what I mean? And you'll see what sacrifice he literally made. And I'm not even going to call it compromise, because it wasn't a compromise. It was a sacrifice that he eventually learned to be very strategic about, because it ultimately got him into what? He owns like a venture capital company. He's moving up in the NBA as director. Dude and player... something with player management, something to that effect. The point is, these sacrifices could be beneficial. And the way James Harden's been moving, and I don't know what other ventures he has out there, you know, that's beyond basketball. But when I hear guys like Gilbert Arenas talk about how hard it is to transition from being that dude to playing ball and doing what you love to being a regular person, it's difficult. So you got to make sure you set yourself up the right way. James Harden's made a lot of money. Hopefully, he's going to be able to be that guy to be able to, you know, step up and make those sacrifices. Even though I know he said that he sacrificed, like, what, about 26 mil with Philly, and then ultimately found out that he wasn't a part of their future. That's unfortunate. That really is unfortunate. And it's unfortunate how GMs can say one thing to your face and lie to you. There's stories of this even in the NFL with Dobbs, you know, and this guy is literally a genius. What is he, like an astrophysicist or something? And they told him straight to his face. I believe the Cardinals told him straight to his face, "We're not trading you." And then next thing you know, he's with the Vikings. Like, it's a cutthroat business, and I hate to keep just throwing it off. You know, it's like an excuse to lie and be obnoxious, but at the same time, it really is business, guys. Like, it's brutal, but you got to do what you got to do, and you got to make it work for you. And like I said, I hope the Clippers do figure it out. And just to get on the Lakers a little bit about what's going on with them, and it's not necessarily with Anthony Davis. And I know there's been a lot of talk. I know what Lil Wayne was talking about, how they should just get rid of Anthony Davis, and I don't know. I don't know. that's bold. That's real hot take-ish, but and bold at the same time. But at the same time, though, he's not wrong. Let me explain why. We have to stop. Well, let me put it this way: we got to manage our expectations. We have expectations of Anthony Davis to be like a 30-10 guy every night. We got to manage those expectations. He's not doing that. And if you don't believe me, he's shown you this over the last couple of years. He's not that guy. He's not going to be that guy, whether it's for health reasons or just for reasons unknown. He's just not going to be that guy. So if we manage our expectations, maybe the Lakers keep him. But if we keep having these expectations that he's supposed to be that guy, then I feel like the Lakers are gonna keep doing this. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna keep doing this. Like, what is this? Lakers, they should be winning it all. They should be this. They should be that. But yet they're not, and they're losing, and they're losing to teams that they should beat. But here's the thing: the NBA looks fairly well balanced. I mean, sure, you have some teams that are kind of like, you know, that seem a little lopsided, but at the same time, it's like, I'm kind of glad to sit there and say, you know, when it comes to super teams, that doesn't seem to matter anymore. And I know the true test will be when we get to the playoffs or when the real games begin, not the in-season tournament, and not, you know, I get it. I'm not trying to dispel none of that. But when you look at Denver, or when you just look at the two teams that were in the finals, let's look at the two teams that were in the finals. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Right? I don't want to say that because Bam do be putting in work on the defensive end, and he does on the offensive end, but he's not really an offensive threat in the sense of middies and step back three. You know what I mean? Like, but if Bam were to put that into his game, and he's durable and he's available, that would be crazy. But the point is, that's not a bunch of superstars on the Miami Heat. If anything, it was a bunch of undrafted players, which makes it that much more impressive that they made it all the way to the finals. And some of y'all had them winning, which is crazy. But hard work does go a long way. And then you have Denver. Denver's not full with a bunch of all-stars. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. But Jokic is just that dominant. And when you have a guy that's that dominant, that's selfless with the basketball, and not just selfless, the dude's IQ is ridiculous. He could pass it anywhere. You know what I mean? He's such a threat that people they will just throw coverages at him, and at the end of the day, all he got to do is just Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray. I know he's out right now. Hopefully he'll be getting back at some point. But and then when you look at Gordon, and they're big too, so it's like on the defensive end, they're gonna give you work. Now I know the Suns added Beal, and everybody's looking at Beal, Durant. You know, I'm like. You know, and obviously it's Booker's team. They've already established that. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, come on, man. You can't sit there and say that. Because if you look at the teams that they're losing to, even so, I don't know. I'm not picking them as automatic favorites. I don't think names, to me, is really going to be the selling point. I know people just hear a bunch of names, meaning on paper, they look great. But at the end of the day, bro, you got to play these games. The games have to be played before me to make any of these crazy predictions. Right now, I'm just enjoying watching the league. I'm enjoying watching everybody either live up to expectation or not live up to expectation. I'm enjoying the Knicks. Why? Because they're winning. I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the Knicks and what they're winning, and they should keep them. I don't think we should keep everybody that we have. Why? Because it's not sustainable when we get to the playoffs. It looks really good in the regular season. It makes us, you know what I mean, like that Miami team. Like, we can get out of the second round. But are we winning a championship? We have to be able to compete with Denver. We got to be able to compete, you know what I mean? And that's what we're talking about, championship. But if we really just talking about, you know, if we really being serious, we got to be able to get out of the East. The Bucks are going to figure it out. The 76ers look dangerous right now, even though nobody's really paying them no mind. Listen, it's very, very early, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we still got to pay attention to Orlando Magic. We still got to pay attention to the Cavs. Like, a lot of people are sleeping on those teams too. But I'm not going to forget to mention the Celtics, because the Celtics, to me, right now, are the better team. And if Porzingis can stay healthy and stay out of foul trouble and get himself in there, and you can tell that they're figuring it out between Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Porzingis. You see that they're still trying to figure it out, because it seems like when Jaylen Brown has a good game, Porzingis looks a little off, and they just got to figure it out. And that's going to be up to Joe Mazzulla to really bring everybody together. But so far, man, and then when you look at, and don't forget about Drew Holiday, and that, right now, Celtics look like they made the better move, right? So we'll see what happens. Damon Giannis is going to be fine. And you see what Giannis is out there doing, and he definitely got a bad call the other night, and we ain't going to keep rehashing that, but they're going to figure it out. And once they figure it out, it's going to be go time, and I can't wait. If y'all have any more teams that y'all want to talk about, let me know. It is football Sunday, and there's just a ton of basketball games on right now, with the Knicks included. So I'm going to end it right here. But you know I never end it without y'all with this. Always remember, losses equals life lessons. Peace.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground, you bustin' your rounds. Nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.